Hey Mario, here's the appreciation report for 4900 Rosehedge number 216. I'm going to send you all this documentation. I just wanted to run through it in this video real fast, just so I fully explain all the different things that are in this graph, and it's quite dense. So first of all, with the asking price of 369,000, I know we're going to work on getting that lower, so we'll ignore that asking price for now. But the biggest thing I wanted to touch on was the appreciation index. So you see this graph here. I like to stick relatively conservative, just so if anything, you're impressed by your appreciation along the way, not so I'm cranking up some numbers and blowing smoke up your ass. But so I'm going to stick with this 63-year average here. So in San Diego, we've enjoyed a 5.28% 63-year average appreciation of homes. The 5-year is pretty cranked up because between 2020 and now, we've seen some record-breaking appreciation. But I would just say ignore the 5-year, and we're going to go based off the 63-year right here. So next year, due to these interest rates increasing, you see the appreciation index is actually a little bit less than normal. Only 1.61% is what's projected. If you accumulate that over 5 years, we're looking at 24.75%. What that would look like based off of this asking price here would be a 5-year gain of $91,344. And here's the breakdown over year 0 through year 5, showing that after year 5, this home's valuation should be around $460,000. That brings us down to this point. The rest of these graphs, which I'll walk through, are all metrics we use to pretty much justify the argument as to why we think the appreciation is going to be this way. So let's dive into it right here. It all comes down to a supply and demand graph. And I'm sure you did that back in school. You have the supply and demand. As you slide that cursor over, if the demand gets more and the supply goes less, prices go up. And that's exactly what's being said here. So it's hard to read this, and when I send you the actual report, you'll see it a little better in your own eyes, because right now I'm just videotaping my computer screen because I'm technologically retarded. But anyways, for every 1,000 people in this area, there's only 2 homes for sale. So if 1,000 residents, most of them are renters, only 2 homes are actually for sale that fit this configuration. This brings it down to our next point. This is all of San Diego County, 3.34 million people here in San Diego County. Of that, 1.65 million are renters. Only 332,000 of those renters can actually afford home ownership. On the surface level, that probably looks scary, saying, wow, there's not many people that can afford to buy home ownership. Why would there still be demand? Well, as being an adult and not living with your parents, you really only have 2 options. You have owning a home and you have renting. So if we have more renters, which it shows in this graph, we got plenty of renters, the price point of rents are still going to increase. The homes in San Diego are not being built fast enough for the demand. So you're probably seeing, and everyone around you, rent is being cranked. So if you can't rent, you'll go to home ownership. So as rentals become less and less affordable, home ownership will also go in suit because they're going to be closely related to each other. Going on down, your most active home buying age for this region, if I go over to here, is 27 to 35, the age group, millennials, basically. There's 544,000 people in this zip code that are deemed 27 to 35. Of that 27 to 35, this is the biggest household group. 51,000 of them are looking to purchase a home or have the ability to purchase a home. Only 9,575 homes are actively being built. If you look at what is needed, that is all of these blue squares to give it a visual representation. The check marks are actually what we have supply for. So to go hark back to that supply and demand graph, there's plenty of demand. If you see from these figures, there is not much supply. So this shows a robust representation of why the valuation and gain will go up. I don't want to just give you what the appreciation will be because I say so. I want to give you all the tools so you can also see the math that we use to justify this 5-year gain. We even dive deep enough, and I'll gloss over these, but this is more justification showing the total employment in thousands, which shows pretty much the economic stability of the area. Saying, I know if you look at the news and you see some more rural areas in the country, if a market leaves, let's say Amazon leaves a certain area, it can bankrupt that area. So these are just justification and markers that show the employment rate that would justify why the home should appreciate over time. I know this is a lot of information I'm throwing at you, and again, I'm going to send you all this. Last thing I wanted to cover on this report As you see these diamonds right here, all this shows is this is the certainty of my artificial intelligence program that I helped create this. It's out of 3 stars. So this is 100%. It's very confident that these are accurate numbers right here. Sometimes in not very well represented zip codes, you won't see this level of confidence from my system. But this is the appreciation index. Let's jump over. Sorry, this is the housing report, real estate report card. Let's jump over to the appreciation index. So jumps right here. And I hope this phone can focus pretty well. But these are all being numbers generated from the original asking price. And again, you are previewed to that amazing grant program. So a lot of these closing costs and down payment indicators won't be representative to you because my system really can't mimic the savings that you have access to with this grant program of having your down payment covered as well as your closing costs covered. But let's jump into it just based off full asking price. So $369,000 to start with. That means that after, I always say you want to hold on to homes between 3 and 7 years, minimum 3, 7 maximum, because we talked about the capital gains tax on top of that. But let's just say you hold on to the home for 7 years. And again, there's 2 different colors and they represent the forecasted appreciation of 6.08% or the historical, that's that 63-year historical average of 5.28. Let's ignore the forecast, even though that's probably what it's going to be, but let's ignore the forecast and go with the lower number so that you're only ever impressed, under promise, over deliver, that kind of thing. So let's go to year 7. If you look at year 7 and you drag that across, your home that is priced at $369,000, which I'm fairly confident we can get for less than that, will be valued after 7 years. Will I stop shaking so much? Between $500,000 and $600,000, so around $510,000 to $530,000. If you hold on to this home for the full 15 years, let's say you live in it as a primary residence, and we talked about using that equity gain to get into your next home, and you just keep it as a rental, and you slide that scale all the way to year 15. Conservatively, you should be looking at a home valuation of $800,000 based off a $369,000 purchase price right now. That's conservative. If you go to the forecasted appreciation index, this home after 15 years in the year 2037 will be valued at $900,000. I know it's a condo, price points are just crazy, and the supply and demand curve justifies all of this. I know people say back in 2004 they bought a home for $200,000. This is basically, if you bought a home now in 2037, you could be that annoying person who says they bought their home for next to nothing while someone is dying of rent. The rest of these graphs are more representative and of what your return on investment based off of your down payment will be. These don't correlate so much with you because your down payment is being supplied for you through the grant program. So these are more for once you put a 5% down payment on, what's your ROI, return on investment. So that's why you see for the first year it's actually negative because you haven't accrued enough appreciation to offset your 5% down payment. 5% of 369 is something like $7,000. So this will be all skewed for you. We'll pretty much ignore these last 2 graphs, but this first one is pretty important that I want you to see just so you can expect to see what the valuation should be as we ride this average up. I hope these helped. Again, I'm going to send you both of these reports so you can see the math for yourself. I'm also going to generate the comparative market analysis and get on the horn with the sellers to see how receptive they are to a lower purchase price. But I will be in touch soon. This is going to be a YouTube link. I don't know why I'm telling you this because you've already clicked the YouTube link before watching this. But here we are. Hope you're doing well, Mario, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.